Okay, guys, here is a walkthrough for installing the tool pack on Excel on a Windows-based computer. So let's go share screen and Excel. Okay, so hopefully you should be seeing Excel right now. Okay, so it's already installed on mine, but go to data just to confirm. And if you've got data analysis over here, you don't need to do this. But assuming you don't, go over here to File, click on File. That should pull this green bar up on the left. Go down to Options, and you want to select the add-ins, the second one to the bottom. And what you want is this Analysis Tool Pack. Okay, select that. Click OK, and then you may have to come back to it again. And under here, Manage, make sure it says Excel Add-ins. Click on the box here. It says Go. And mine away. Okay. And make sure it's checked up here. Okay. And then just click OK. And then you should see it under data. Now, if you don't see it under data here, close down Excel and open it back up again. Um, but so once you've got it, click on data analysis, and you want to scroll down here a little bit to get your t-test to sample assuming equal variances. Click OK. And just like we talked about earlier, so your variable one range, make sure your cursor is blinking in that field. And then you go over here and left click your mouse and hold that button and scroll down and select all these fields with a number in them. And again, it should say A2 to A52, variable 2 range. Make sure your uh, cursor is blinking in that field. Same thing. Select all these fields. And just make sure you get all the ones with the data, even though they have a 0, it's still, it's still important data. And that's all you need to do this screen. And if you remember the alpha 0.05, that is our 5% chance that what we're seeing is due to random sampling or sampling error. Click OK, and that should open up a second sheet. If you look down here, you got sheet 1 was your raw data, and then sheet 2 is your results of your t-test assuming equal variances. This up a little bit so you can see. So we've got, again, variable 1, variable 2. Again, variable 1 was the non-rural, variable was the rural. It just came from, remember when we select a variable, it doesn't matter, just pay attention to which one you select for variable 1 and variable 2 when you first select your columns. Okay. So you want to, before you do the chart, you want to unselect this. All right, I found out if you have this still selected, your chart comes out looking a little bit weird. So again, you get your variance for both, your mean for both, and so your mean for population 1. So what this is telling you is 14.1 deaths per 100,000, or 14.1 drug overdose deaths per 100,000 people in the non-rural counties in 2017, and you had 4.8 drug overdose deaths per 100,000 people in rural counties on average. Okay, remember this is your mean. This is your average death rate for those counties. And then your t-value is 5.45 right here. And again, I'll put that critical value table up, but this is well above any critical value. So we're going to definitely reject our null hypothesis that there's no difference. Okay, so make sure you're just selected on a random cell out here that has no information in it. Click Insert. I hate Windows anymore. That's why I'm on a Mac these days. come over here to your in column or bar chart and click that and click your first one here. It's just a 2D column, and that should give you a blank square basically. All right, move that to wherever you need to. So you want to right click in that square and come down here to select data and your chart data range. All right, again, make sure your cursor is blinking in this one. And this is your two means. You want to select both the cells with the two means in it. Okay, that's all we're comparing is two means. And on this horizontal category axis label, click edit. And here's your axis labels. So you want to select the two labels, variable 1 cell and variable 2 cell. Just select those two cells, click OK, and then click OK, and that creates our chart. So you can edit your chart title, give it something like the example I've got, um, drug overdose death rates in rural versus non-rural counties in Georgia in 2017 or something like that. Okay, now remember, label to this column, this variable 1 and variable 2, that is linked to these cells over here. So if you click in that cell, click delete, and then you just type in right in that cell, that will translate over here to this column. Okay. And then you can do the same thing for variable 2, and it'll change this over here. So the other thing you want to do, come in here and click somewhere in this chart again, highlight the chart, and get these three guys over here on the right to show up. And the plus sign is chart elements. So you click on that, you can add various elements. So you can add an axis title, which you definitely need for your y-axis. And again, this axis title over here, this is telling you what these numbers are. And this is the drug overdose death rate mean um, per population and per 100,000, something along those lines. This is the mean of the drug overdose death rate per 100,000 people. Okay, so this is saying in the non-rural, you had 14, 0.1 deaths per 100,000 people, and in the rural, you had 4.86 deaths per 100,000 people. The other thing you can add is a personal thing. I like them, but whatever. You click on data labels, and it gives you the actual number on the top of the graph there. So it's a little more um, informative, I think. And that's really all you need out of this. You don't need any other chart elements. So you just click on that. All right, so when you're done, all right, make sure you're not clicking on a, title thing or square or something like that. You're just clicking outside of that, but you want to make sure you get these little handles here on the entire chart. You would right click and select copy. And from there, you just go over to your Word document where your conclusion is, and you would paste this after the conclusion. Ideally, everything verbiage wise should just take one page, but this should be probably the only thing on the second page. And open it up, make it nice and big, and that's really all you have to do. Okay. Again, I'm available by email. I want you guys to work on this over the next week and try and get this completed before next Monday. Again, we're not meeting next week, but I will be available, and I'm only an email away. So, uh, just let me know if you have issues. I think it's fairly straightforward, but you know, maybe it's not. All right, guys. I appreciate the time, and like I said, if you need help, I'm only an email away. Thanks.